Hello, writers. The topic for today is something called Metacommentary, and the reason we're bringing it up now is that the longer your paper, the more moving parts in your paper, the more this thing called Metacommentary shows that you know what you're talking about. So for a research paper, right, for the persuasive, going back to your op-ed, you're arguing about one thing, Gen Z is capable or is not capable of being successful. And while you can make that complex, right, in a short amount of space, you're arguing something simple. Well, with writing about an outlier and writing about various aspects of an outlier, metacommentary, which are just really big transitions, help your reader know where the major changes are in your paper, where the major areas are in your paper, and it shows that you have mastered the material, right? It shows that you're in control, and you're saying, okay, first we have to look at this. Now that we understand the background of X, we can look at Y. And so we're like, oh, okay, yes, I see, we have the background information, now we're moving to this. So it's just big transitions, better than also, or now, or first, or second. It's larger transitions that kind of highlight various areas of your paragraph, of your writing, of your paper. So here's the description on page 132 of Metacommentary. What we are suggesting then is that you think of your text as two texts joined at the hip. A main text in which you make your argument, and another in which you work your ideas. So you're making your argument, but then you're saying you're working your ideas by doing this: distinguishing your views from others they may be confused with, anticipating and answering objections, connecting one point to another, explaining why your claim might be controversial, and so forth. So, right, you're talking about, Jeff Bezos is an outlier. Jeff Bezos, okay, well, here's his childhood. However, to really understand Jeff Bezos, we have to understand the psychology of genius. And so let's talk about the psychology of genius for a while. Okay, now that we understand the psychology of genius, we have to understand historical, the kind of cultural events that put him in the right position. We have to understand these cultural events. Okay, now that we understand these things, let's go back to his personality. So it's like you're a tour guide. You're saying, okay, here's the major ideas you have to know and to understand this guy. And it's very consciously saying, again, moves that I'm saying. In order to really understand Jeff Bezos, we first have to understand a background in this. Okay? Now that we have a background in this, we can move over to talk about this. It's just movements like that that help navigate your ideas. Now, a good metacommentary line is something like, as we talk about genius, there are at least two schools of thought on this, right? Again, that's a move of metacommentary. Critics or experts on genius don't agree. On the one hand, they say this, on the other hand, they say this. For our purposes, we should take this definition, right? And all of that is metacommentary. It's telling you, hey, it's telling your reader, hey, I've done the work, and I know what the conversation is. Here are the different points. Now let's find our way within it. Again, this depends on your research. This depends on your having a clear sense of where the paper is going and what various aspects you want to cover. Okay. Also, I'm going to post after this. I'll post some examples of use of metacommentary in papers, and then I'll post something that I want you to do, like a kind of outline based on the chapter of Joe Flom in Gladwell, and the various levels he goes through, the various kind of, right, their story and backstory, and his theory about meaningful labor, meaningful work, and things like that. And it's a good model for you to follow. So I want you to kind of put an outline together and think about where you would use metacommentary, right? If you're going to say, all right, on this issue of the Holocaust, I'm going to talk about fascism and the ideas of fascism and why it's important. And then from there, I'm going to move to, the situation of the Jews in Europe prior to World War II, and then see how the two measure up. Well, you're going to use metacommentary between those 2 points, right? That's a great point to say. Now that we understand what fascism is, we can think about the historical context of the Jews in before World War II in Europe. Those kinds of moves, I want you to pre-plan. So there'll be 2 short videos after this that kind of explain how these how to put meta commentary to work in your paper.